What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the MLB Live Before Lock show here on Stokastic YouTube channel. I'm Eric Lindquist. You can follow me at Eric Lindquist. I'm joined on this lovely Thursday afternoon or evening if you're out there on the East Coast with him, Chris Spags at Chris Spags over on X, my good friend. He is the host of Splash Play. Check him out over on the YouTubes. How you doing, my dude?
I'm excited to be here. Yesterday got a little chaotic for me if you missed the stream with my toddler bursting in talking about the potty. I've got a puppy here again. And the good news, guys, today it's the exact same thing. Thought the wife would be back in town, able to help out so I could make some quality MLB DFS content. But no, I'm instead in dad mode. We got cars out there. We got a puppy chewing next to me. But I got Eric Lindquist. And what else do I need here when he's touting Corbin Carroll and I get to play him on the one day he's ass?
Yeah, that was good. Way to go, Corbin. And then today he has 3 stolen bags at 50% ownership. He goes like 1 for 5 and just breaks the slate anyway. It's just insane stuff sometimes in the MLB streets. But you know what? Over a long-term sample size, the data here at Stokastic will carry the day. The data here over any long-term sample size will carry the day. And we've got it directly on your screen. That is the Sims tool that I'm sharing directly here. And over in playback, once I decide to move on here with my life, I have an opportunity to fire up Portfolio EV, which is available over at OddsShopper.com. We talk about it every day for good reason, because it'll help you make money. 7-day free trial down at the link below. I'll talk about that as this show goes along. But interesting little slate we have here. It's small field, small slate, MLB DFS Spags. Only 5 games done at 8:05 p.m. Eastern time. So nice for those of you with kids. I'm not one of them. I have a 120-pound dog outside, but that's about it. How are you feeling about this 5-gamer we have before us? Because it actually looks pretty fun for a small slate.
Yeah, I think it's a unique one here. I think, the pitching ownership feels like one. If you are 150 maxing, you're probably going to be feeling a little bit better about your exposures. I'm a little bit surprised at some of the chalk I'm getting here, both sim-wise and what the field's getting. I guess the chalk for the field's going to be Taj Bradley, but Reese Olson fits the criteria of what we talked about a lot of the slates lately, where not great pitching up top, not guys I'm really excited to play, but guys it's certainly going to come up a lot, and you're going to have to just kind of live with. And rest in peace, Chris Bubich from yesterday, who was the exact opposite of what we want from our chalk that we talked about for a large portion of the show.
Yeah, Lord Almighty, 60% of my lineups are sacrificed to the Lord above. Hopefully they're having fun up there. Angel wings, doing their thing, feeling the dance, feeling the flow. That's about all I got for you. You ready to rock here? 5 games. We have 10 pitchers to talk about. It kind of makes it easy.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, dare to dream.
Dare to dream. Well, we can go one by one on them and literally talk about every single thing about them, talk about their background, where they grew up, how they're doing now, what their headspace is, I suppose. Or we could just literally talk about what is on your screen. And that is the Sims tool, and seeing kind of how our lineups are going to be constructed when you're using the best data in the entire industry. And that is me favoriting 150 lineups. This is me going into the ROI boost as we look at some players that we're getting the most of. And let's start with Taj Bradley. We'll just pretend like Reese Olson doesn't exist above him. But Taj Bradley at 9K, we've talked about this ballpark ad nauseum. He's got the best strikeout stuff of anybody here on today's slate. He's also got the 9K price tag, but again, on a 5-game slate, I can't imagine that there's going to be a difficulty to get to a little bit of Soto, a little bit of Trout, and plus your most expensive batter and Judge on this slate. Well, he's going up against the aforementioned Taj Bradley, but it's the Yankees in this little AAA ballpark, Steinbrenner Field. They're more akin to that ballpark than any other team in baseball, considering that's their spring training facility. But how are you feeling about Taj Bradley, where there are some really good things he can do, and you could also get a ton of leverage stacking against him?
Yeah, I think Taj Bradley definitely stands out on the slate relative to, the fact that he's as highly priced as he is, certainly makes him stand out as well. Definitely not the kind of guy, MLB slates, I would really love to get lights out pitchers here as opposed to guys that have some obvious flaws. Like Taj Bradley, who does have some struggles versus right-handed power in particular. I got up a 230 ISO there. But as you mentioned, the K stuff looks great. 9.5 Ks per 9 versus righties, 11.5 versus lefties as well. And he's getting a good amount of lefties in this lineup too. You have 7 guys that strike out above league average in the lineup, a cumulative K rate of about 24.5%. So it is a pretty good spot. I'm a little bit traumatized by Bubich yesterday, who I think has similar underlying numbers there with a good swing strike rate. Taj Bradley's got 12%, chase rate of about 44. It's just when you go against the Yankees, their ability to extend at bats, their ability to obviously make some dangerous power going against them, going against the opposing pitcher rather. And frankly, the park as well, being a quality one like Eric has talked about a lot throughout the year, which I think has been a great advantage, does give you a disadvantage for Taj Bradley potentially. So I got him in 31%, a little bit under the field. I'm okay with that. I think he's certainly a player that's going to come up no matter what. In most of your lineups, 20 to 25%. Hard to ignore him, I think, and avoid him at that level. But I don't know, man. The Bubic thing really got me yesterday because I think Bubic's stuff looks a lot better across the board than Bradley's does. Maybe a little more K upside for Bradley, but this Yankees lineup is a tough one and a lot of power from pretty much every spot.
Yeah, we kind of know what we're dealing with, though. I mean, obviously, there's blow-up potential for a small ballpark, whether that's 81 games that they're going to play in Yankee Stadium or whether that's the couple here that they're going to play in the AL East against the Tampa Bay Rays in this small ballpark. And we have Taj Bradley, definitely somebody who is showing up in a lot of my top lineups here, my top two. Then it gets very, very weird. And Tomoyuki Sugano, we're going to have a long conversation about how what kind of gumption we're feeling today, how advantageous we're feeling today, because that is an uncomfortable click to say the absolute very least. But Taj Bradley currently pulling around 43% ownership, 44% ownership, 41% ownership in the pool of lineups that I ended up creating. Could have boosted that a little bit. But the point is, he's a really good strikeout arm. No matter what you do, he's going to be somebody that if you're building 20 lineups, you're going to have an assortment of it. And then you can also stack up against him here because obviously it's a ton of power in the Yankee lineup, tons of opportunities with lefties in Ben Rice, Trent Grisham, Austin Wells, Cody Bellinger, and then the righties, Anthony Volpe, Aaron Judge. Lots of ways that things can go wrong, but I'm going to be clicking on right around the field, 40%. I think that was the exact number that showed up in my top 150 in the sim. Yep, 41 and change. But let's get to some other pitching talking points, if you will, and we'll skip out on Reese Olson still as we move down the board. 8,700, Andre Palante. He's pulling a little bit of ownership in my lineups, but I'm under the field on him. I'm way under on Lorenzen, as in 0%. I'm way under on Jack Kakanowicz, who also 0% because he's Jack Kakanowicz. So those are three pitchers in the 8K range, or two pitchers in the 8K range, and then one more who is actually showing up a little bit there. Two pitchers. Yeah, I can't really imagine myself landing on either of them with their strikeout rates. Can you make a case for Palante or Lorenzen?
No, honestly, I got very little Palante for myself as well. Only 6% of him fields at 15. I think Palante's biggest skill is, kind of like a Wade Miley-esque skill where you're not getting a ton of strikeouts, but maybe you have a guy with a stretched out enough arm who doesn't give up a ton of dangerous power. Only a 110 ISO versus both sides of the plate for him, giving up under a 2% home run rate overall as well, with 1.8% for being that mark. I think he's not a bad pitcher in terms of like what we're looking to target against. And frankly, some of the pitchers earlier in the year could look better anyway than the longer term sample size. But I don't think he's a guy like I'm trying to stack up against, given the fact that he does limit that power, does for the most part keep things in pocket. But I don't think he's the pitcher that's going to get strikeouts either. Only 7 Ks per 9 versus righties over the last couple of years, 6 Ks per 9 versus lefties as well. Swinging strike rates towards the bottom end of the slate as well. Chase rates close to 36%, which is the worst mark on the slate too. He doesn't seem like that guy to me, but I also just don't think he gets blown up. So maybe if you end up on a slate where a bunch of guys get blown up, Palante just kind of gets there because he'll be in there for enough and he won't give up a lot of home runs or a lot of runs, I would think. But he doesn't really wow me, and I'm happy to send him and give me a bunch of them.
Yeah, I'm glad that I didn't get a ton of him. I think I want a little bit more, if we're being honest, just to get, as you said, I think that there's a safety maybe with Andre Palante. You go through like his pitch mix specifically, been getting ground balls going back to last year. And I think that's going to continue for him. I mean, he's had a negative 0.1 this season. The ground ball has always been the Palante way of survival, because if you're going to give up some hard contact from time to time, you better at least limit where it's going. And on the ground, useful. 47.8% hard hits so far this season. Yet a 3.80 expected ERA this year, 3.46 last year. He's just finding ways to be effective. But you brought it up, strikeout stuff, sub 20% his entire career. I really don't find any hope of that continuing. Main reason I want to get a little bit more is the potential ruin that exists in this 7K range. And let's talk through it, because Tanner Bybee, back and forth on him. I never know what to make of Tanner Bybee. Feast and famine. You could definitely say that about Reese Olson. You could definitely say that about Griffin Canning. I mean, this is probably one of the more disturbing 7K ranges that we've had in a while. Also think Will Warren has a ton of upside, even though you look at the lineup, you look at the ballpark, doesn't make you feel confident, that's for sure. But is there somebody in the 7K range that you want to really plant your flag with?
I think the 7K range, I think might be, hold on, I lost my place here.
How dare you?
Yeah, 7K range, I think, has to be the Reese Olson range. I mean, if we're going to just go right to the meat of things here, he's got good underlying stuff with the chase rate being at 12%, or the swing strike rate at 12%, chase rate at 45. I'm uncomfortable with the amount of him I got. I got him in 55% of lineups and Fields at 33. So we're talking almost a 2x stand on a pitcher that I don't think is fantastic, even though the underlying stuff is pretty good. And he's also, facing a Royals team that doesn't strike out a bunch. The lineup they have 21% cumulative rate of strikeout there. So under that, 22% and 22.6%, I think is where we were last year for the average strikeout rate. So it's not like a great matchup on paper for him. I'm kind of surprised to get as much Olsen, but I guess I could maybe knock the number down a little bit and get more of the Canning, more of the Kumar Rocker, who at least has good stuff theoretically for being a top prospect for so long. But I just got so much Olsen here, and I'm not sure with being on the stream here that I'm actually going to do much to maneuver that around.
Mario here, he's looking in the sun right now. Eric Bybee is a proven pitcher with decent enough K rate. Sure, the matchup is a bit tough, but it's not like the O's have been destroying the ball early on. But here's the thing about that is that it's small sample sizes. And there are some killers, I think, going forward for the Baltimore lineup. I think bat on ball is coming sooner rather than later. Plus, going up against a Tanner Bybee, has he been all that successful so far this season? Not in the way you would hope. I mean, sub 16% K rate, 4.65 expected ERA. He hasn't been very good, I would say, this year. And then you add in that positive regression is probably due for a Baltimore team that has just kind of been middling to start off this season, no doubt about it, in terms of WRC plus 116, though, still. And they haven't gotten anything out of Gunnar Henderson. They haven't gotten anything out of Rushman from the left side the way that they thought they would in their home ballpark. Things are coming in a very real way for the Baltimore Orioles, and Bybee with the K rate, with the walks up, man, it's an uncomfortable click today.
Yeah, I got Bybee, 27%. So I'm basically with the field on him. I do think he grades out okay to me in terms of limiting a lot of the dangerous power for the most part. Not a high hard hit rate at 37.5%. Hard contact rates at 30, which is towards the better part of the slate as well. But when you are going against Baltimore with a high fly ball rate, in Baltimore as well, not necessarily the kind of spot that I would think you want to go crazy on a guy for Bybee, but I think he's not a bad pitcher. I think, unfortunately, that's like the most you could say for him and a lot of pitchers on the slate.
Yeah, you got to play pitchers. I mean, we have 10 of them. We've already talked about 3 we don't want to play. There's 7 of them we're going to be mixing and matching. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Oh, speaking of, Griffin Canning, thoughts, comments, questions? Because mainly I have concerns.
Yeah, Canning's always been a guy to me going back to the last couple of years where I feel like there is some good strikeout stuff, at least historically there was. And now we're talking about a guy overall with a 21% K rate. We're talking under league average again. He does get some guys to chase a little bit with a 44% rate there, 12% swing strike rate. So again, good numbers there for the most part, but a lot of home runs, 4% home run rate going against him. Definitely not a park you're worried about that quite as much, but Canning, to me, I guess the biggest move that Canning's made for his career is going to, the Mets and having that Citi Field as a home park and maybe getting a little bit less park factors going against him. But he's not great shakes either. But maybe the long-term sample size with him playing in, more hitter-friendly parks can start to stabilize and more in his favor because he can get swing and misses, and that's half the battle.
Yeah, swing and miss is great. North of 5 xFIPs, and then hard contact, and then everything else that goes along with Griffin Canning here at the moment. Not necessarily my favorite to be enduring, but you got to play pitchers on this slate. And just straight up one lineup. Would you rather play Palante at the other side for 8,700 knowing his strikeout upside, or would you rather play Canning?
That's an interesting question. I think Palante less likely to completely ruin your day, but Canning, I would say in terms of strikeout stuff, he's probably got more of the ceiling that could win you a slate. Projection-wise, it seems like we're favoring Canning as well, at least by 0.7 for as much as that matters. I'd probably go Canning, and I did get more Canning, so I'm okay with that math. But it's not as big of a lean as I guess I'm probably making it sound.
No, I'm with you. That's kind of what I'm getting at is that when you're trying to win a large field tournament and finish first, I think Palante is great. And you're playing single entry, 200, 300 lineups, but most people are playing 1,000 plus, or you're playing in the largest field tournaments, 5-figure, not just 5 figures up top, but 5-digit number of entries is what I was getting at. I didn't know where my brain was going. And that is where you're kind of looking at Griffin Canning. You have the insurance policy of him being cheaper by 1,300 that can work out for you, where he doesn't have to put up the same fantasy score depending on what else you get in your lineup. And then you also have the opportunity to, I think, have access to more strikeouts, because I am pretty sure Palante, no matter what happens, even if he has a successful outing, that's a tough spot going up against a Mets team that I think going forward is not going to be all that strikeout prone, 19.9%, 23rd in baseball against righties. So 7th best at avoiding strikeouts. That's pretty useful, if you ask me, useful Melati. But now it gets somehow even more uncomfortable with the next couple of guys to talk about. Kumar Rocker went through his AAA stuff last night on Lindy's Locks Live over on X and then also on the YouTube channels. No strikeout stuff so far at the big league level, but you go through his AAA and he's just mowing dudes down at the AAA level. I've talked about him at length quite a bit with Greg Ehrenberg. I still think he's worth rolling out in quite a few lineups here, but what do we do here on a slate where he is definitely going to find strikeouts eventually in one of these spots, you would think, but like, what's going on with this guy? And an Angels lineup should strike out a lot, but could also put 4 or 5 in the air on him.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, honestly, with Rocker, like I've known the name for years, being a guy that's been talked about as a top prospect. Actually played him in MLB The Show, and he was one of the boss challenges on there, which means he's supposed to be a good pitcher. So to pull up his numbers and see them be as bad as they are with a 1.7 whip overall, 304 average, giving up 340 BABIP, a hard hit rate of 53%, the worst in the slate as well. So he's getting smoked a good amount. The good news is the fly ball rate's not crazy high at 27%. So it seems kind of like a bad luck more than anything, especially with the BABIP being as high as it is at 340. So I would hope it can get better. I think it's possible you're seeing sort of the floor of him. Like usually when a guy is coming in with some, steam behind him as a top prospect, or at least a guy who was a top prospect for a while. It's rare to see him, at least in my numbers, be like looking like one of the worst pitchers on the slate. So I think it can get better for him. I think he's showing some underlying stuff against lefties that looks a little bit better, but I agree. The K rate's awful for him at 18.2%. Like if you're just going to go with how he's played so far, and you probably shouldn't because it is a young, career for him with only 110 batters faced, but how he's shown it out so far, it's just like, it's been really bad.
Yeah, it's been really, really bad. It's a tough scene for Kumar Rocker. Although, again, I would love to see low ownership on him on one of these slates, because I'll still keep dice rolling on him as far as it like, again, this is not necessarily that slate. He's pulling 13.5% ownership, which isn't like crazy high for this. But I mean, if this were a 15 game slate, getting like 2-3% Kumar Rocker would be a lot more fun to me. Like it would be because he has, I think, that in him, like a 30-35 complete slate breaking performance. But like, I think I'm going to be right around the field when it's all said and done, just purely because I don't want him to make or break with one of those massive games. I'm kind of cheering against it today based on what I've got in my lineups here at the moment. But now we get into potentially the weirdest talking point, I believe, of this entire slate. Tomoyuki Sugano. This guy comes over from Japan. Never really had strikeout stuff in Japan. It's really not carrying over to the big league level. And now he's giving up hard contact. He's finding ways of being unsuccessful at the big league level. He's going up against a Cleveland team that we know how many lefties they can roll out, whether it's Quan just in terms of effectiveness, J-Ram, Carlos Santana in terms of power. There is no Kyle Manzardo in today's lineup, so that's one bullet that he avoids.
No luxurious oranges for us.
No luxurious oranges. I loved that analogy. That was so beautiful. But he is the pitcher that I did not expect to be getting this much of him. I'm not sure if everybody saw ahead of time. We have Reese Olson, who's popping up the most in terms of the lineups that I built ahead of time. But Tomoyuki Sugano is sitting there, I believe, 3rd or 4th. Like, he's pulling up way more ownership than currently the field has of him. Is this purely because he's 6K and we're just hoping he can avoid all catastrophe in the way that we're talking about Palante for 2,700 further? Is there something in his stuff that maybe gives you hope going forward? Because I don't have it.
I mean, the hope would, I think, be that you just can't be this bad and be a major league pitcher. And normally that does sort of, come to find its depth over a certain period of time. But an 8% K rate for him so far, 6% swing strike rate, literally both be the worst marks on the slate. He's only getting 2.7 Ks per 9 versus righties, 3.7 versus lefties. He's only faced 31 batters from each side of the plate, but it's not looking good so far. And a swinging strike rate, again, not there. Chase rate, not really there either. I think the reason you would buy in is just like he can't really get worse. I think it's tough for me because I got the same amount of Sugano as I did for Kumar Rocker. And it's like for Rocker, like I get 19% and I feel like, all right, cool. I'm buying in early on this guy who should be better. For Sugano, I don't really see that being there for him. And as you mentioned, he's not coming over as like a much ballyhooed prospect. And now you're facing, a team that does at least get on base pretty well. WRC plus of 91.3 for this lineup isn't great. It could be a get well spot for him. I'm willing to trust the sim on it and take that 19% exposure. But just in terms of stuff, like he's probably your worst pitcher on the slate in terms of what he's shown so far.
It's kind of a bummer because, it's been fun to watch Imanaga. It's been fun to watch Yoshi. It's been even fun to watch Roki Sasaki at times when he's not walking everybody and their dog. But it's nice to have somebody walk your dog from time to time. You don't have to take care of it. I get to just luxuriously sit back, and Spags gets to hang out with his kiddo. But I don't really like Sasaki as a pitcher, and yet I think you have to roll out some kind of him today because of the price tag. Like, he allows for you to get to some luxurious stacks. So we don't have luxurious oranges to get to. So let's get to some luxurious stacks on today's slate and kind of mix and match that way. You can see in my top lineups right now, Taj Bradley, Tomoyuki Sugano. I think I'm going to end up rolling him out in single entry today, Spags. I want to throw up.
And single entry seems tough, but again, the price tag allows you to do a lot here. I mean, for the lineups that I put into the biggest tournament today, like, I did leave a good amount of money on the table for some of the stacks I wanted to hit. So I don't know that you need to spend up for all the bats today necessarily, but being able to do that is nice. And he definitely allows you to do it. And at a certain point too, again, like, water finds its depth. Like, he probably can't be this bad and stay in the major leagues. You can't have under a 10% K rate. Like, he's probably due to have like actually a few real outlier days just to get to like what his version of average is.
How do we feel about Canning tonight? We talked about him a little bit already. It's uncomfortable, but everybody's kind of uncomfortable on this slate. Like, I feel the best about Taj Bradley because of the strikeout stuff and the strikeout stuff alone. But you got to play two pitchers, and I think everybody has a case against them. Like, I have no case for Jack Hakanowicz to play him, actually. I think there's a world where I get to a little bit more Michael Lorenzen than zero. I think I'm probably going to give him a tiny boost just to, like, on this slate, playing 50 lineups that I am. I definitely want to kind of mix and match a little bit of everybody, hoping that I get like the right combination and really make my stands with stacks and just being overweight to Reese Olson, Taj Bradley. Like, I think that those are the two that I can kind of make the best case for. For Reese Olson, do I think that he's like some electric pitcher? No. Is Kansas City even the best strikeout matchup? No. Jonathan India, Bobby Witt, Vinny Pasquantino. But it's a great ballpark to be pitching in. Hitting weather is not all that good. And last year, we at least got to see what it could be for Reese Olson. 3.64 expected ERA, 21.7% K rate, decent enough swinging strike rate. Like, everything looks okay enough for me, Spags, that I think those are the two guys that if you just made me plant a flag in large field tournaments to just be overweight, exactly what the Sims are echoing to us. So Griffin Canning, he is fourth right now in my pitcher exposure. Tanner Bybee kind of sandwiched in the middle there. But do you have anything else to add for DraftKings pitchers before we take a look at FanDuel?
No, I mean, I will say for me, I got like Max Meyer to me graded out so poorly yesterday. I'm just going to highlight a guy who I think grades out similarly poorly. Will Warren, I think, grades out really poorly to me today. So maybe he'll get 8 Ks and look like one of the best pitchers in baseball because Max Meyer has, I don't know, the longer term sale for him didn't look good at all. And he crushed yesterday. So that would be my pitcher for today. Attack Will Warren for stacks and watch him beat you by having the best pitching day.
Yeah, about Warren. Warren is somebody that they obviously have a lot of hope for, and we've seen enough to kind of squander some of that hope. He does have a great strikeout rate, but in terms of game environments, he's in the worst one by far, right, Spags? Like, we've kind of like beat that to a pulp all week long.
Yeah, I mean, Warren, to me, again, giving up a lot of isolated power to both sides of the plate. 270 ISO allowed to righties, 235 allowed to lefties. The worst marks in the slate. He does have some K upside potentially, striking out 13 Ks per nine versus righties, 8.6% or 8.6 rather per nine versus lefties as well. So he's got some underlying stuff that maybe stabilizes for the better, but if it doesn't, he can get dinged up. And I like Tampa Bay. I like the park. I feel like you sold me on Tampa Bay, and it's actually been one of the better parks to attack this year so far. I'm willing to go against Will Warren, but he's got strikeout stuff underneath it all.
He does have strikeout stuff underneath it all, but if he gets hit up, that won't matter all that much. Again, I'm going to roll out a little bit. Not a lot, baby girl, just a little bit. We'll take him to the crib in a little bit. I can show you how I live in a little bit. You know, this is the way that I live. Still, big boys still pushing big bills. Stack my money, lay low, and chill with Portfolio EV 7-day free trial down at the link below. I'm sharing over at Playback right now. Playback.tv/Stokastic. You guys want to check out the Sims tool completely free? You can do so over there. Get some bets for today. We've already got the NBA streets populating here. We also have an over 9 for the New York Yankees Tampa Bay Rays that is at the very top of the tool, pulling tons of goodness there over at BetMGM. If you guys want to go take a look, strongly recommend it. But I very much recommend 7-day free trial for all new users. Go check it out. No time to waste. 7-day free trial of Portfolio EV. And if you guys haven't seen already, we have so many good things that are popping over here in the streets. Portfolio EV, new stuff that's getting added, markets for the MLB as well. Trying to pull this up here while I'm at it too. See if I can find some of these slides. Oh yeah. Where is it at? I was just getting weird. Anyway, Portfolio EV, you guys want to try it out for free? You can sign up for one of these lovely dealios. We also have the Sims tool that you can sign up. You guys sign up with Underdog, FanDuel, Vivid Picks, BetMGM, anything on your screen. Plus, DraftKings Pick 6, Bet 5, get 50. You have Bet365, damn good find. Sock it to you one more time, get low. How many rap songs can I do in a 1-minute read? Let's find out. DFS Sims tools for free. You sign up for one of those. You hit up support at Stokastic.com or support at OddsShopper.com if you'd like to get Portfolio EV for free. You can check out either one. All you do is you sign up the link provided down below. You check out any one of those. You hit up support at OddsShopper or support at Stokastic.com, and you take advantage of saying which one you want. Let them know. I promise you, our guy, News God, El Negro Loco, he will hit you up. He will let you know that you are all good to go once you send in your first betting ticket from any one of these sites. It's only if you're 21 and over. If you have a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. How fun was that? Also, am I frozen? Why am I frozen? What did I do?
Oh, yeah, you are frozen. I mean, the rapping came through clearly. That's a positive, but yeah, you're looking down, looking kind of sad, a little dour. But, you don't have to pay attention on camera now, so that's a positive.
I suppose. I'll just stand up, see what happens. See, as soon as I stand up, then problems are going to happen. That Trey D reference is elite. You're very welcome. I feel like Eric would fit in on Wild and Out. I think I would. I feel like that is definitely where I need to be in my life. Like, why is this sharing?
Nobody's ever said that sentence before in the world. You're like, this guy, natural fit for Nick
LLL just did that. Now, I want to let everybody know that is not my burner, that even though you can't see me because my camera's frozen, I promise you, I got this covered. We are good. Thursday night MLB, yes. As long as the Sims tool is still updating over on playback there. Let me double check and make sure. Yeah, still updating in real time over there. So just frozen on my camera.
Do you want to refresh? And I don't think it won't kill the stream, right? Because I'm in here.
No, I'm just going to keep going. F it, we'll do it live.
It would be great if it were like you frozen in a really handsome way, and it's like this could be your headshot that you have up the entire time.
Oh, 1 second. This is very important to me.
Ho by Ludacris.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna do.
I'm so tired of y'all always talking about hoes this, hoes that. You mother effing ho. I wasn't no ho last night. Ho, bring yo ass. Okay, hold on. Scene. Or is it?
I thought we were doing host a different area code. I was thinking of the Nate.
That's what I was thinking it was too. And I just looked up the lyrics. I was like, wait, I don't think I've ever
it's use a ho.
That's what it. I said that she was okay. My brain couldn't put it together, but it very much belonged it. Somebody said they died a little. You know what? Good. It's important.
Take that. That's what you get when you watch a stream and you don't enjoy the rap music on your DFS stream. Sorry.
Is it changing the screen? How is my screen changing? But somehow, some way, I'm frozen. This is hilarious. Let it go. Let it go. We're going to go right here. It is time, my friends, to go to DraftKings pre-contest sim. And I want to show you my lineups here because stacks are very interesting today. That is for sure. We've got the Texas Rangers pulling the best second behind Detroit and Kansas City going up against Michael Lorenzen, but Texas, Tampa, but the Sims tool, man, it's a small field. And when you get this small field and you only go by one, we're going to go one unique or, 0, the default. If I don't go to 2, I can tell you which stack I get the most of by far. I think it's the one you're probably getting the most by far building with the Sims tool. And that is the Detroit Tigers. I don't know what to say. Michael Lorenzen, it used to be a bit on these streams that I thought he was the best hitting outfielder or the best pitching outfielder that existed because he used to play outfield for Cincinnati. Shohei Ohtani, kind of forgot about that guy a couple years ago, and Greg will never let me forget it so long as I live. So there you go. How are you feeling about the Detroit Tigers pulling the most ownership in lineups?
Honestly, I don't love it. I mean, I don't think Lorenzen's a bad pitcher. I know the chat was kind of hyping him up a little bit more than I'd be comfortable with, but he's got some decent stuff, in particular against lefty bats, who should be facing a lot of today. Only a 1.1 whip is one of the better marks in the slate against left-handed hitters. About a 195 batting average, also not that bad. 220 BABIPs, maybe a little bit lucky. But it's mostly looking pretty good in terms of limiting production. He's not a good strikeout guy, so that's the positive, is that this lineup should be able to keep him at bats, and I think maybe have a shot to create some production. But I'm uncomfortable with how much Detroit I got. I got 15% here. They are tied for the chalkiest 5-man stack for me. In terms of that, I got a lot of Texas as well. I like the way that looks. But as I see you flashing your camera on and off, but you're still frozen.
I'm trying to fix it while you're talking and listening to you. Okay. I can do multiple things at once, Spags.
No, it's not that. I just think it's funny to see you just keep, and it's still the same face over and over again. It's a lot of Detroit today. I get why you're getting there here. These guys are really cheap for a 5-man stack. It's a pitcher that's not that good, but only 4.2 implied runs. Like, I think if I were to move away from one of the chalk stacks, I'd probably be willing to move away from Detroit, but the Sims do not feel that way. You'll get a lot of them, and I tend to say trust the Sims more than anything.
Yep, trust the data. Don't listen to us. I'm going to just say the data is going to win out over any long-term sample size. However, there are some advantageous things, because there are things that can get overlooked early in a season, or just the idea of age. Like, there are pitchers that will continue to age and not pitch as well. Father Time is undefeated, or is it? Yeah, no, Father Time is undefeated. That's what they say. I've never met Father Time, but you also have a 2-year-old, so like you're not too concerned about that. He's got a lot of years ahead of him. I don't know about Will Warren in the MLB if he continues to do this. Not a lot of years ahead of him, that's for sure. I don't know where I was getting with that. I can't fix my camera no matter what I do. But
the good news is you're creating great content. You're talking through it. It's just your face looks like you're the saddest man in the world. It looks like you just found out your penis is very small. Like, you're looking down on it. You're sad. You're depressed.
No, that is not what it is. It is very, very nice and proportional to what you would expect it to be, Chris.
And you're a big guy, so I hope so.
I'm a big guy. I like the game of basketball. Can't wait to watch him play some ball and just nuke the Denver Nuggets. Oh, speaking of nuke, I think somebody wanted nuke of the night. We'll do that later on. We'll do that obviously later on. We're talking through our stacks here on DraftKings.com. Oh, and we got to talk FanDuel. We got to talk FanDuel pitchers before it's all said and done. Again, it's only 10 pitchers to talk through. I think we'll have plenty of time. Texas Rangers, New York Yankees, who I absolutely love the idea of them being my third highest owned stack. This is really the team. When I talk about both sides, I want to be overweight to Taj Bradley at 40%. And I also want to be overweight to the New York Yankees because of that ballpark and the potential. Taj Bradley has given up fly ball contact. I don't know why they tried to hinder his service time the way that they did, but I don't think it was very helpful to his development, but he's good. It's just that he gives up fly ball contact in a tiny little stadium that can definitely come out to bite you against the Yankees. So I love the Yankees. In fact, if I were to boost one team that I'm looking at based on the ownership, I think off the top of my head would have to be the Yankees. How do you feel about them? Texas Rangers, any other stacks that you really find yourself getting to today?
I like the Yankees, got a good amount of them in terms of the 5-man stacks. I mean, I have a little bit under the field on Taj Bradley, so it does seem logical. I mean, frankly, if you're over the field on Taj Bradley, it would also be logical to get some Yankee stacks as well. But I think being under, taking a little bit of the ownership and going towards a Yankee stack more looks pretty good. Aaron Judge has been just a monster. I mean, you look at his sample size over the last season and change, 224 WRC plus, 464 on base percentage. Like, he's insane. Hit a home run the other day. He's going to probably do that a lot of times this year. I think there's real concern going against Bradley, but the park factors, like we talked about, being positive there, even though it'd be just as good probably in Yankee Stadium. I like the Yankees here. They're not my second highest owned, though. It is Texas for me. So I'm with you on the Yankees. Think they're a good play. Texas with the 5.3 implied runs feels really high. You also have a lineup that overall 250 ISO, being helped out a little bit by Dustin Harris and his small sample size. But even he's been a killer at 2,500. You get him lefty bat. I like Texas a lot here. I got a ton of ownership, 15% 5-man stacks, 7% 3-man stacks, 5% 4-man stacks. If you want to fade me today, I think probably not playing Texas is the way to do it. And that's be a lot of the field doing it as well. But what are your stances on Texas? Because I feel like you put New York ahead of them, and that worries me a little bit. You're maybe not as on board.
No, it's not that I put them ahead of them. I'm getting more of Texas there in the old Sims. It really comes down to how bad Cock is. Cockanowich, it seems to be what we're talking about the last couple of minutes. Speaking of golf ball girth, for the win. Just thought I'd share that comment because it made me smile. And Guitar Z-Man, I think he's a South Dakota brethren, such as myself as well. Or that's what he says once upon a time. Thought I would share. We're having fun today, everybody. We're having fun. This is fun. Anyway, Texas, Corey Seager, confirmed. Pretty good at hitting of baseballs. The homers are coming, friends. The homers are certainly coming. And I'm not playing any of the cock and Owich. I just kind of wanted to do it like a turkey.
That was a good cock. That was your best call for a cock and a
Oh my. I just heard what you said. 13.6% K rate, 9.8% barrel percentage. I don't know how you click on the cock. So you might as well stack against the cock. An Owich.
So how have you've been saying his name Kakanowitz? Is that the official pronunciation?
Cock and Owich. Oh, Spearfish. That's where you're from? Spearfish? I love Spearfish. Mundworth. That's awesome. That's good stuff. Spearfish, South Dakota. I scored 25 points once in Spearfish, 10 for 10 from the field. Perfect game, 5 for 5 from the line. Is that impressive to you, Spags?
I mean, I prefer the Spearfish Rhino if you catch. Glad that got you, because I really didn't feel like a good joke. Felt like one of those lazy Family Guy cutaways. But man,
you couldn't see it, but I just had to mute myself because I snorted. Anyway, that was fantastic. Please, camera, come back. What is going on? Anyway, the Texas Rangers look awesome. And I think individual players of Texas, I mean, look at shortstop. It's just Gunnar and Corey Seager, Bobby Witt. I mean, we have 3 really good shortstops to click on. You better win that position. You go to the outfield. I mean, Jock Peterson, I know it's been a brutal start to his season. It's got to come along sooner rather than later. It really, really does. And you don't want to be discounting him on a slate like this, on a small slate. Really like the idea of him. Really like the idea of these Texas Rangers. But now I think it gets a little bit more uncomfortable. I think Detroit, in terms of value, makes a ton of sense. I think Texas and New York in their spots makes a ton of sense. But I'm really sad that I'm only getting to 9.33% Angels. I'm really sad that I'm only getting to 3.3% of Kansas City against Reese Olson, because Reese Olson hasn't been all that good to start off the season. But I think this just speaks to what he did last year, earning a little bit of respect, being a highly touted prospect, performing finally after a brutal rookie season. Anything that looks uncomfortable on your screen of stacks that we're not really getting to?
Yeah, I'm also low on the Angels as well. I mean, the implied total 4.4 runs for them is not bad. As you talked about with Rocker, like I do expect him to at a certain point, get a little bit better here. But he hasn't been good so far. He's letting guys on base. Certainly you can have at the very least, I think, a smaller stack, a 3-man, 2-man hitting out of this group. So like, I'm a little bit surprised to be so low on the Angels, but I got like no 5-mans, only 2%. An okay amount of 4-mans, got 4% there, but not very much of the 3-mans either. So yeah, I'm a little bit low on that. It does make me uncomfortable. KC against Reese Olson, I initially had that same thought, and it's not like a crazy exciting thought because that's the first thing you think about when you see a chalk pitcher who you don't think is fantastic. But for KC, really low run total for them with 3.5, worse than the slate. Team also doesn't strike out a bunch, so maybe you have some logic there to keep the at-bats going. But really not a lot of guys I'm excited about. The price tag for Bobby Witt is really expensive at this point as well. Didn't get to KC a lot besides Witt. Got 13% of him. And as Eric mentioned, the shortstop position looks pretty good for a lot of the pay-up options. But I just didn't get a lot of that stack. So I'm low on KC. Feels a little bit spooky. And your Spearfish chat is going strong.
Look, no, this is just incredible because everybody's from South Dakota on this damn stream right now. I love this so much. Literally in Spearfish, next to Spearfish in Deadwood right now. Deadwood is where I go the most, even though I'm from Sioux Falls, other side of the state. Cool story, bro. Love going to Deadwood. I had my bachelor party in Deadwood 2021.
Oh, did Al Swearingen take good care of you?
Nobody got that. I did. Buffalo Bill. Oh man,
that show is fantastic.
That show is fantastic. I think one of the more underrated shows. Did you ever see the movie? The movie was great too.
I did. It was like a little. I mean, it wasn't as fan servicey as like the Matrix movie they did a couple years ago, where it's just like, hey, here's the gang. Oh, they're in the Matrix, huh? Like it's pretty crazy. But it was a little like I didn't really feel like it added a ton to the lore. It was nice to see him again, but I don't feel like it didn't do a whole lot for me.
Eric is so deep in meditation. That's fantastic too. Anyway. Let's finish out the conversation here about the stacks. The Mets. I want to ask you about the Mets here because if I were going to boost one team and just get a little bit, and I talked about how I want to be a little bit flat, Palante, I just wish he were pulling more ownership because he's been an effective pitcher, like a good real life pitcher. But this Mets team is stacked offensively. Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Ventos, Nimos, Marte's back in our lives. Luis Torrens is the catcher I prefer with his numbers. Brett Beatty, who had an amazing spring training, has not put it together so far this season. 1 through 8, it's a great lineup, and we could be getting them at really low ownership on today's slate. However, not really showing up in the Sims tool. What are you planning to do with them? Because they are the team that I'm currently not getting to like at all. 1.33% in my top 150 that I think I got to get a little bit more of. No?
Yeah, I mean, they really didn't come up for me very much at all. I'm actually at the same 1.3% amount in my 5-man stacks. Didn't get any 4-man stacks at all. Got only 2% 3-mans, which is not a lot either. I didn't get there for the Mets. I mean, I'm comfortable with it because we talked about with Palante. And really the big selling point for him is that I don't think he's the kind of guy that's going to get killed on a slate. I don't think he gives up 4 home runs. I don't think he loads up the bases and gets slaughtered like that. So I'm okay not getting Mets here, but I'm with you on the talent. I mean, 320 on base percentage for these guys. Like, they can get on base, 180 ISO. They can get some extra bases as well. I think they have the ability to make something happen. I'm just not sure that Palante is a guy that you're going to get it against. But on this slate, frankly, with it being flat, besides a couple of top teams, I'm okay with you making that shot on it. I just personally didn't get there.
Yeah, I want to take that shot really, really bad, but we'll see. We still got just a little over 20 minutes, 22 minutes until lock. If you could hit that like button, if not for me, do it for Spags. And if not for Spags, do it for Puppet Lindquist. And if not for Puppet Lindquist, do it for Frozen Camera Eric. And if not for Frozen Camera Eric, do it for the good that is us here at Stokastic. And then we'll give you the nuke of the night. How about that? That'll be nice.
That's good. That was a good negotiation by you. And frankly, no NBA today, guys. So please hit the like button if you can. Show some love. If you enjoy MLB content like this, hitting the like button probably goes a long way to show that we don't need no stinking NBA. Even though, Eric, I finished top 6 in a 40-weight chop yesterday in the NBA in the big tournament. So almost won.
Now
40-weight chop for 6K was a couple points away from me. If only Trey Lyles didn't suck so much ass.
Look who's got the big cockanowich now. Look at you.
I've had a great NBA year. I really need MLB to catch up because I feel like I'm giving okay takes on stream, but boy, my play in MLB has not been hot to start the year with NBA going on.
Okay, Eric, you need to unplug your camera, reconnect. No, I don't. I can't unplug my camera from my MacBook Pro. Like, that's not how this works. Oops, I just stopped screen sharing. That's definitely not how it works. Son of a biscuit. See what you did here, everybody? See what you did here? Anyway.
Eric's just trying to find a way to hide. He's looking at his phone the entire stream. He's looking at the phone, playing with a dog, having some drinks. He's making margaritas. You guys can't see it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. That's me, old Eric, just being crazy. I did have like a sip of wine on stream, 3 days ago at it was 9:30 p.m. Was trying to get everything done with the old baseball streets. My wife's just like, "Do you want wine?" I'm like, "Yeah, I would very much like that." So not uncommon, but not my go-to.
Time to say no to that.
Yeah. There might have been somebody here once upon a time well, we're not going to even go there. We're going to continue on our merry way. You can't even see me. I
don't even know what you're talking about. I feel like I'm missing something. I have to say, though, hard to drink wine on stream. Like, I feel like the DFS bro things, like you have a beer, you take a chug of your beer, but to sip wine and go like, I love that. It would be maybe not the best DFS vibes.
Well, make me seem more like a bitch than I already am. Really appreciate that. 7-day free trial is fantastic. Portfolio EV. Just a reminder for the people, screen sharing, which is probably the whole reason that this is happening. I know it happened to Greg Ehrenberg on StreamYard the other day too, so I'm not crazy. Don't forget that boy told you kick that dirt off your shoulder. I could do it. See? Portfolio EV, 7-day free trial down below. Check it out over at Stokastic. Yeah. Playback.tv/Stokastic. Head over there. Come kick it. Would love to see you there. Okay. Let's talk FanDuel because I want to give the FanDuel people love. No discrimination here, squirrel. Taj Bradley, Reese Olson, Palante pulling a little bit more ownership because of how valuable 6 innings and no earned could be over there, especially if you're in line for that win. But Michael Lorenzen pulling auspicious ownership, if you ask me. I think this is where I might want to be freewheeling a little bit more of the Tanner Bybee world, taking a shot on Will Warren here at lower ownership. Anything stand out to you on the FanDuel ownership side? Because it is rightfully a ton of Taj Bradley, but I don't have any other strong convictions outside of maybe a little bit more of these two fellows.
Yeah, Bradley, I think, certainly stands out, though it is, fairly flat for your top 5 pitchers on FanDuel with Palante, Griffin Canning, Will Warren, Tanner Bibby, Olson, and Bradley, all above a 10% chance of being top pitcher. But I think Bradley, to me, 10K, you are paying up a lot there. You could probably talk me more into Reese Olson. I mean, I'm playing a lot on DraftKings anyway, but like I feel like Reese Olson, me, when you see the ownership there being so low, about half the ownership of Taj Bradley, and also 2,300 cheaper. Like I think that he makes a little more sense, even though he'll be much chalkier on DraftKings. But Bradley's got the best stuff in the slate. If I were to probably just to go all in on a single entry on FanDuel, I'd probably trust Bradley the most. But I think Olsen, if you're playing a lot of lineups, I think getting more on the field there makes more sense to me because Bradley just seems really chalky.
Yeah, he's very, very chalky. He's got the most upside, highest projection. Life is good for him so far, been really stretched out early in the season. Now we're getting to the point where that's almost not even a conversation for most guys. There's still some, like David Festa the other day. You still have to worry about it a little bit here and there, but for the most part, we're getting a couple of turns through the lineup now, or through games that is 5-6 starter. Like these are just not your top major league pitchers here. And Taj Bradley is like an ace quality type pitcher with the strikeout stuff. So I totally understand the ownership. Probably with you where maybe it's a little bit heavy, but 30-year lineups, I'd be all right with that. Reese Olson, maybe getting yourself a little bit there, but wanted to give a specific shout out because of these tags to Tanner Bybee and to Will Warren. But let's talk stacks here for 1 second over in the FanDuel streets here as well. A lot coming in. Let me find this over on the top stacks tool. There it is. We've got ourselves a couple of interesting paths to go in large field. Texas pulling the most ownership by far, and yet they're still under-owned. The Yankees going up against Taj Bradley. So kind of the same situation, same conundrum. Taj Bradley pulling the most ownership on FanDuel, over a third of the lineups. But if you're not playing them, second most popular stack is the Yankees. That is wild, Spags.
Yeah, I think you got to get to Yankees on FanDuel. Definitely makes a lot of sense there with them being, a little bit overowned still, but 13% chance of being a top stack, as Eric mentioned, number 2. I still love Texas even more. I think they look great on DraftKings. I think they look even better on FanDuel. But, with Bradley being so highly owned on FanDuel, I think you play Reese Olson, play a Yankee stack. That's one way to leap a lot of the field if that those outcomes work out in your favor. But yeah, I think the Yankees look really appealing here. It makes sense. And frankly, maybe makes me think more about I should have forced a little bit more on DraftKings, but it is what it is.
Is what it is, my friends. Yeah. How about Ben Rice coming alive? Ben Rice smacking the base over there. There's just some power everywhere. And Cody Bellinger clean up here today. All these lefties against Taj Bradley definitely make some sense. And they still pretty affordable relative to what we've seen some of these Yankee stacks with like Stanton Judge combinations. A little bit easier to afford that middle section of the Yankee lineup. And of course, Aaron Judge pulling the most ownership on the slate. You're getting in a small ballpark against a fly ball pitcher. Aaron Judge can hit pop flies out of there. It'll be really, really fun going forward. Anything else to talk about for FanDuel before we go back over to DraftKings, give our favorite batters who's going yard and getting the heck up out of here?
I like the Angels a little bit more on FanDuel as well. I think Rocker's not highly owned there, so you're not really getting leverage, only 1% ownership going Rocker's way on FanDuel, but 12% chance of being a top stack on FanDuel, 8% chance of being a top value. I wasn't really sold on the Angels, and I didn't get them a ton in the sim on DraftKings, but I think for FanDuel, they're a team where I'm assuming you're going to get them naturally in the sim, and you should probably be comfortable with that because they look like a significantly stronger play, at least to me.
All right. Well, my camera doesn't work. It really, really doesn't. No idea why. Have no clue, but you know what? That's okay, because I can still build dramatic effect to the nuke of the night. Yeah, it's Nukenheimer time, baby. We got to get that nuke of the night for the people. Who's going yard? Maybe not just once, maybe twice. The way that, Gypsy Fleetwood Mac would describe.
What? that reference went over my head.
Oh, come on now. Lightning strikes maybe once, maybe twice, and it lights up the night, and you see your Gypsy. Come on now.
I think I know what you're talking about, but it doesn't come to mind. You were more in my wheelhouse with Ho by Ludacris, I have to say, but that's...
Okay, I'll go back to it. Use a hoe. Who's going to be hitting it? Oh, so far.
Feels good. Feels good to get the hoe out.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it? Feels nice to be able to throw it out there. I need to know. Oh, people loved it. Eric Kingquist, you're welcome. We continue on our merry way. We sure do. Fleetwood Mac is GOAT. It makes me so sad that Fleetwood's burned down in Maui. That was like my favorite place to go. But people need to know, Spags, who is your nuke of the night?
All right, so I think it's tough because like the Texas guys, I don't like individually as much, but I do like the stack overall. I'm more tempted to go Tampa Bay against Will Warren because I did force my way to Tampa Bay more than the field. I think I will go. Fuck, man. I got this like Arizona, the 4 guys before Eugenio Suarez hit home runs yesterday. So it's in my head a little bit. I'm going to go Jonathan Aranda here, hitting in the 4-hole. 50% hard hit rate, 17.6% barrel rate, highest on the Rays, a little bit of a smaller sample size for him, only 200 at bats. Will Warren gives up dangerous power. I'm hoping that Aranda gets it. And of course, play all the guys around him instead because they'll hit home runs today.
Is Spencer Torkelson good again?
He's more like Spencer Dorkelson.
Hell yeah, Preppy. Just Saved by the Bell, that one. What in the world? I just want to give a shout out to a guy who's obviously been to hell and back. That is Spencer Torkelson. 18-degree launch angle, 53.5% hard hit, 409 xWOBA, 619 expected slugging. This guy couldn't hit the broadside of a barn at points last year. 209 expected batting average on the season. His rookie year, 272 WOBA. People called him the worst ever #1 pick in the history of baseball. That was a little dramatic, don't you think? Because it's like rain on your wedding day. It's a free ride when you already paid. It's the good advice that you just didn't take, but we're going to afford Spencer Torkelson. Who would have thought? It figures. Your nuke of the night, Spencer Torkelson. Did I get you with that one?
I think that's interesting. I think you set the table well. I think you made your case to the audience well. If I were to grade you on how you sold the play, I'd give you a 10. The play itself, 2.5.
Yeah. Your play it safe was afraid to fly. Took a suitcase and told his kids goodbye. Let's see what else everybody else is going. Carpenter and Torque back to back. Your lips to God's ears. Torque bomb. That would be lovely too. I don't know what you're saying there. I don't understand it at all. Harris, solid pickup. Yeah, there's that. WTF. Malakar, welcome to this entire stream. I'm still frozen. Don't mind me. Still doing the thing. Oh, hop going yard. It's got more oh hops to it, Spags. That's for sure. We got Meisner. Everybody wants to play this Meisner character for Tampa Bay. You hit one home run and people lose their minds. We got a Jake Berger, yeah. That would be pretty fun too. Lots of great home run plays here on today's slate, but I'm going to be trusting the Sims tool. I think you should be too here today. And just kind of rounding it all together, birds of a feather now. Hit the like button. And I'm going to throw it out there one more time for the people. If you guys want to get the Sims completely free, for the NBA, the entire NBA playoffs, you could send it over and just say, hey, support at stokastic.com. I want to get the NBA Sims. When you sign up at one of these sites, you get it completely free to you. 1 month of any sport. Now, if you're playing MLB every day, and I'm assuming you probably are if you're watching this video, you get an MLB Sim for an entire month to be able to try out. That is a ton of amazing data, tons of amazing stuff that you can utilize on a day in, day out basis. Plus, the one thing I want to finish this show out with, something that I've wished I shared more while we're doing this, we can build out individual lineups here in the single lineup sim, have the ownership directly on screen there for you, have the values, and be able to piece by piece put it together and then run the lineup simulation. You can save that lineup. You can add more to it. You can see the sim ROI directly there. I love this tool. I really think it's probably one of the most valuable that we have here at Stokastic. It's a great complementary piece to the Sims, and you get it all completely free when you check out one of our partner sites. But Spags, I think that's going to do it here for us. 10 pitchers, 5 games up, 5 games down. Tell the people where to find you as we get out of here.
You can check me out on Twitter at Chris Spags. Follow my 2 at Splash Play Pod and at Splash Play Bets channels. If you want to see some content, I'll be back on the NBA/MLB grind next week. Just kind of to get some stuff done this week to get things aligned. But go check that out and show some love for Eric if you can. He's one of the best hosts doing this. I'm so proud of his growth over the years, and I love doing shows with the guy. Hit the like button if you can. You know that, but I'll say it publicly so you know it even more.
I love when you publicly declare that you love me and you respect me and everything else. It's what I've always wanted, Spags. Nobody else does, but that's okay.
I absolutely most our lives living in a puppet's paradise. I don't know. It was in my head. It had to come out. People can't see your face either.
Goodbye.